Hi everyone, I'm Matt Pinto and welcome to this Catholic Crypto Conference preview where we're bringing you some really great guests, some fascinating topics that we're actually going to be unpacking at the conference. So many good speakers will meet you there and we hope you can join us. I'm really pleased to be with Dr. Stephen Barrows. I met him a couple of months ago. I think we're all learning that it's much more than just cryptocurrency. It's blockchain and it's decentralized finance and it's the metaverse and Web3 and so much more. But Stephen, I'm delighted you can join us. You're joining us from Michigan, I believe. Is that not correct?
Yes, great to be here, Matt. Yes, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
An entity that speaks of free market principles and the church. Sometimes the church has a social justice mission, but sometimes it can get overweighted, perhaps in that direction. And maybe people think, consciously or unconsciously, that the church might be more like a socialist system than a free market system, so it confuses them. Is that something that you've seen or experienced in your years of serving with Acton?
You know, I think there are individuals out there and certain leaders of the church who do sometimes have a perspective on what free markets entail that may be a misperception. And I think when we think about what Catholic social teaching really emphasizes, there's, multiple principles and, priority and preferential option for the poor and subsidiarity, the respect for private property rights and the dignity of the human person, the centrality of human life. All of those things are, I think, essential to Catholic social teaching. The question then becomes, what type of economic system is most aligned with promoting those values? And so, of course, we hear in common discourse a spectrum between those on the socialist end of the spectrum to those that would be very libertarian or almost anarcho-capitalist, you might say. And I think the church recognizes that these are two extremes, and somewhere in the middle is where the church thinks that that society best flourishes. But you're right. I think that there is a tendency for there to be a negative connotation attached to free enterprise and free commerce.
As Catholics, we would be very interested in sound society because typically a stable culture leads to flourishing. But can you share with us the premise of your talk, why you chose that and why you think it will bear fruit?
We don't want to have a society that reverts back to a barter system or a society where there is uncertainty and significant instability in the medium of exchange that society is using. And so we find in the course of history that when societies don't have a stable currency, those societies become under immense pressure, not only economically, but when economic disruption occurs, it can harm society in other ways. You find, social disorders that occur either within the family or within businesses. And so to have a functioning economy, which is essential to a flourishing society, you need to have sound money. Now, you might ask, what then do we mean by sound money? And the way I view sound money, as I already kind of described, is a stable currency. And that would presuppose that the monetary sovereign does not arbitrarily change the money supply so that it either loses value or becomes otherwise unstable. Because if it loses value, that's effectively taking property away from individual citizens from their hard-earned work and so forth. In an inflationary environment, which is effectively what happens when you devalue your currency, is most harmful to the poor because the poor don't have options. And so when I think even just our current in the United States, we have higher inflation now, of course, than we typically do. And the individuals that are feeling the brunt of that are those that are spending all of their money and have no margin to adapt to the higher prices they're experiencing.
So the contention is that sound money might actually lead to personal better choices.
Sound money and the relationship between that and choices people make with respect to choices through time. Yes, sound money does impact the practical decisions that people make day to day.
What would you consider a success if people came away with X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, so I would hope that individuals will walk away with a sound understanding of what it means to have a sound currency, and then also what these new technologies might entail for creating new institutional arrangements for a currency that help bring stability to the economic marketplace. So that would be if people could walk away with how the potential of this technology to improve stability and exchange and create sound money, I think would be a great opportunity for people to hear.
Stephen Barrows, thank you for being with me. I've enjoyed this budding friendship, but also really your wisdom today was helpful for me personally and hopefully helpful for those who are watching. You can visit the website at catholiccryptoconference.com, and we would love to see you there.